close to Deken is to offer him the crystal.
Why are you so determined to destroy him?
Deken has destroyed millions in his quest for power. One of those millions was my wife.
Does he know what he's done to you?
He knows.
Then he'll expect an attack.
From me, yes, but not from you. A helpless prisoner. You should have one clear shot from your eyes at full strength.
I won't take a life in cold blood.
If Deken lives and gets his hands on the crystal, and eventually he will, billions of lives will be lost. Is your sense of honor worth so much?
Is one woman's life important enough to risk the fate of an entire galaxy?
It was.
Everyone, and welcome back to another episode of GospelX, the gospel according to the X-Men. My name is Jonathan, and this is my pal Henry, and we're just so glad that you can join us today. And we're right now on the verge of heading into and exploring season 3 again, but episode 6, and that is when the X-Men encounter a very 80s name, Starjammers.
The Starjammers.
Oh my gosh.
Space pirates.
All I could think of is these like neon glasses and tights and leotards. And big hair and men wearing lipstick as rock stars. Anyway, so Henry, what stood out for you in this episode when the X-Men met the Starjammers?
It's just stuff just keeps happening. We got this new characters just all of a sudden just show up, right? It seems like it's been happening a couple episodes. Every eepisode, just a new random group of people just show up for no reason.
Yeah, well, my favorite was Gladiator, but I don't know.
Eric the Red, whatever. It's just
came out of nowhere.
Someone just shows up, and then you're just supposed to accept that, hey, okay, it's all just a big coincidence. But
yeah,
basically, the Starjammers, space pirates, show up right when the X-Men arrive at the ship. So literally 2 seconds after they arrive, the Starjammers arrive. They managed to stun the X-Men and steal the Mcron crystal. And for some reason, coincidence, Corsair, the leader of the Starjammers, takes Cyclops of all the X-Men he could have taken.
Exactly.
For some reason, you got some Deus Ex Machina going on. Because 30 seconds later, Phoenix reveals to the audience, Corsair is actually Cyclops' father.
Oh! From outer space! Yeah.
And it's what a coincidence, Cyclops' father, of the size of the universe.
What's the odds? What are the odds, right?
Yeah. So in the episode, basically, next thing that happens is Corsair tells Cyclops that he's not really going to sell the Mcron crystal to the Emperor. He's using it to lure the Emperor so that he can get his revenge, because the Emperor, Deken, killed Corsair's wife, Cyclops' mother. Okay?
Yeah.
And during that interaction where Corsair is telling Cyclops his plan, Cyclops is saying, how can you do this? How can you jeopardize the lives of billions of people and the entire galaxy to go and get your revenge for the sake of one woman, which is Corsair's wife? And then Corsair says, you know what? Like, I will sacrifice for this one woman, because that is what is important to him.
Right.
And finally, the episode continues. The plan doesn't actually succeed. Deken actually does, at the end of the episode, win. But it's that interaction between Cyclops and his father, who they don't know that they're related yet, that I think is the heart of this episode.
Right.
So
can you elaborate more on that dialogue? Like, what was going on there?
So basically, Corsair is telling Cyclops the plan. Cyclops, he's basically a Boy Scout. He says, no, we have to do the right thing.
The
We
honorable
always have to do the
thing.
right thing. Basically says, it's implied in the scene, I could never do what you do.
Yeah,
I could
yeah.
never stoop down to that level to
Yeah.
to
I will
sacrifice
never take,
everything
for just a revenge, right? For the
for
purpose of
revenge,
revenge.
for one woman. And guess what? The irony is that because they're father and son,
Mhm.
right? The implication is that no, Cyclops, if you were in his shoes and what he faced happened to you,
Mhm.
you would do the same thing that he would.
Yeah.
And we kind of see this in the character of Cyclops and his love for Jean. If Jean Grey was murdered by somebody, Cyclops would definitely go and try to get his revenge.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And so he's judging his father with a level of moral superiority, even though that if it happened to him,
Yeah.
he would do the same thing.
Yeah. Completely. Totally. Like we were talking about this as we were preparing this. It's like he did have that type of scenario before with Sinister, right? Where Sinister hurt his friends and then he just went ballistic, right? And almost like disintegrated Sinister. And so Cyclops did that, like by saying that, he's almost like condemning himself of
That's right.
hypocrisy, of
Mhm.
saying that like no, there's a moral high ground and everything, just because the situation was suited for him, right? Because the situation was Corsair being the guilty one and not him, so it was more suitable for him, for Cyclops to say it as opposed to Corsair. But then if the situation was reversed, he would have just done it too himself, right?
He just he would have done exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it's so easy for us to do that, right? It's so easy, especially now. The date is June the 19th, 2020. It's very easy, and then for those of you why I'm quoting this date is because we're still in the midst of Black Lives Matter, the protests, environmental, eco-terrorists, or eco-protests. Sorry, I'm still living in the Poison Ivy sermon that I just did. So the eco-protest, every protest you could think of, and everybody trying to say that we have the higher moral ground and we are right. But then it's because the situation finds itself favorable for you to say it. However, if the situation is not favorable for us, then we find ourselves condemned. Actually, the very words that we say condemns us of hypocrisy, right? It's really it's just interesting, and it's a good reminder for us to not to be quick to judge.
It seems like the theme of the times now is that the mindset that no, if I was you, I would never have done that. I
That's
would
right.
never do what you do. I would never stoop and basically sacrifice my current morals
Yeah.
in any situation.
I would
And
never
it takes
have. I would never spit at somebody just because they are. I'm angry at them, right? Yet I
and
wonder, right?
it just I wonder too is that hey, in this day and age, right? It's so easy to say that, to just say that I would never do that. I would never sacrifice my morals. Um, but it's hard to live out because
It is.
who knows what you would do in those situations. You
Right.
don't know.
You don't know, and you don't know what situation you'll find yourself that your morals will be challenged, right? And so therefore, it's like it's interesting. It's that is very, in a way, very Western, very Greek in a way, that we want to be this perfect person and we want to exemplify this perfection. But it's just that it's not that. It's more like a journey towards that. It's a journey towards of humility, saying that, just to admit that, you know what, we're human, we're broken, and we all need Jesus to help us, to fix us, right? Because you know what, no matter what kind of, however we see ourselves as the moral, chances are when we find ourselves in a situation that is not favorable for us, we'll fall flat.
what does the gospel say about having a high moral standard?
Well, the gospel is not supposed, with regards to high moral standards, is to not to take pride in that moral standard. It's like more of taking a humble approach to the moral standard, to know that, to understand that the moral standard is there, the high moral standards they're given by God, but to also realize that and have the humility that we can't get there, and we're never going to get there. That's our stance.
So basically, it's like no matter how good you think you are,
right,
you're still on the same level as everybody else around you, right?
Right. For all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, right? We cannot get there.
We can't just compare ourselves and say we're more moral than these people or those people. In God's eyes, are we kind of the same?
Yeah. Because if you think about it, we do have a tendency, you and I are both Christian, and we have a tendency to become prideful, saying that, hey, we got it, right? Where we have this moral high ground. But really we don't. Deep down we don't, right? Deep down we all know that we have our failures, right? And so therefore, the best stance, the best Christian stance towards morality and high ground or whatever standards is actually a humble approach, a humble stance. To know that we never get there unless through Jesus' death and resurrection. There you go. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us in this conversation with regards to moral high grounds, hypocrisy, or however you want to interpret this, judging others in this episode of GospelX. Thank you for joining us, and till next time, we hope you have a blessed week.